was gonna join us. And,
Mm.
good morning.
Well, I hope I'm not making this recording um unbearable to watch because I eat like an animal.
I
So
eat like an animal too. I legit thought I was gonna be eating on screen, but I just happened to get breakfast done in time. So I was like, yay, I'm like timed this out perfectly. I don't mind eating on screen. I used to be embarrassed. I used to get embarrassed about like eating. I hated to go on dates where they like took me to eat because like I'm a finger eater. Like you take me for ribs, dude, I'm gonna be the messiest bitch in the place, like period. Right? Like I'm like, no, no. I'm like, it was so interesting. This was probably okay. So the guy that I married, his mom was old school. Like I'm talking like old school. Like you didn't go into her house bare feet, but of course he didn't warn me of this, and I was always like barefoot flip flops. Like I hated socks, I hated shoes. Like you were lucky. Like the only reason why I started wearing shoes was because we moved to the big city where it just wasn't appropriate. Like you're gonna get shit in your feet
gotta
if you
wear shoes. Yeah.
like you have to, but I hate socks. Actually, then I became obsessed with socks. I was like, well, if I'm gonna wear socks, I want the coolest socks on the block. So I had like hundreds of socks. I didn't have to. I got rid of bags and bags of socks that were all still almost mint condition because I had so many socks that none of them wore out very fast because I don't have to wear them. I didn't have to change them very often. I got rid of bags of them. I still have so many bloody socks. I have like probably a month worth of socks still that I don't have to wash socks. It's so funny, but she was so old school. And I mean, when you sat down for dinner, it was God is good, God is great. Let us thank him for our food. Amen. And then you could eat,
Hmm.
but you didn't eat without saying your prayer. Okay. So
Hmm.
I was not conditioned to that. We were elbows on the table family. We were like, you were lucky if you got us at a table family. We did the table thing for a little while, and then we were in front of the TV, like we did do, yeah, we were just we were, I don't know, not a socialite family. So and then to meet my husband, like he was not prim and proper. He was biker. He was like crude to the core. Like to meet his mom, technically his grandma who raised him, totally different and super like I say, old school is like the only way that I can really like chalk her down to, like very old fashioned values.
Hmm.
So me and her did not see eye to eye in the beginning. Um, they were moving, her and her husband were moving, and they wanted us to help them move. And my ex-husband was working a 12-hour shift overnights, and they wanted us to move them like right after he got off work. And I laughed. I was like, she's kidding, right? Like there has to be like some form of joke. She didn't talk to me for like 6 months. Like we helped them move and she wouldn't even look my way because I laughed at her for being like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, come on now. Like there's
Oh,
like, yeah, oh yeah. But I was
oh
like,
God.
I'm like, no. I'm like, no. So I set boundaries very early in that. So then moved to my second relationship because like the first 20 like years of relationships for me were with two people. My husband was 11 years from when I was 16, and then about 6 8 months after we broke up, split, I called it quits. I got with my high school crush,
Wait,
and
you were married at 16?
I married him at 22. I married him at 22.
Oh,
We were
okay.
together from 16, but I married him when I was 22. We were married for 3 years before I finally was like, fuck this noise, I'm out. Um,
Okay.
yeah. Spent 11 years of my life basically being told how not good I was. So
Mm.
um, when I was like looking at some of my, I'll tell you that after I'll finish this story first. I'm like, squirrel, here we go. I haven't meditated this morning, so I've been grounding, and I was grounding in the water, which seems to have helped, but like without like my meditative space, I feel really, I felt really interesting today. Anyways, the last couple of days have been really interesting. But anyways, back to this one.
Mm.
So the next person, my long-term crush, I was like
Mhm.
friends with his mom, and his sister was my best friend. That's how we met. And so I always
Oh,
called his
cool.
mom and his stepdad dad, and like that. But I was like that's the type of family. So his grandma was grandma.
Yeah.
Even before we started dating, we'd known each other for like 10 years at that point, longer. I met him when I was 10, and I was 26
Wow.
when we started dating. So yeah, we knew each other. We were friends for like 16 years before we ever started dating. And so his grandma didn't remember me as an adult. We knew each other as children, but I disappeared when I got married. And I don't know why did my camera just turn off?
It sure did. I don't know what happened.
I'm not close to my phone.
That is bizarre.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God,
gosh.
that is
Somebody's
so
somebody's
weird.
ancestor is playing tricks on us. This happened over the weekend. I'll have to tell you after you share
Yeah,
your
oh
story.
my goodness.
But
But see, so this could be grandma because the grandma that I'm talking, this could actually be both. This could be both sides of this story because like both Lyle's mom has passed and the grandma that I was just about to talk about has passed as
your
well.
grandma.
My yeah, my grandma, exactly, right? So
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, so she she was sitting there, they made ribs. And this was our first meal together as an adult. And she's like, she's not touching her food. And now I'm like, do I have to say a prayer? Did I fuck something up? Right. And I'm like fighting with my fork and knife with this rib. And I'm like, oh, I can't even pretend not to be me here. And I pick up this rib and I shove it in my face. And she goes, oh, thank God.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
no, sorry. It
awesome.
wasn't a rib. It was a pork chop. And it was on a bone. It was on the bone pork chop. And I was like, because I was like, it wasn't that messy though. Yeah, it was on the bone pork chop with barbecue sauce. So it was similar to a rib, but not quite. And I picked this thing up and I freaking I bit in and she goes, oh thank God, puts down her fork and knife. She goes, I was hoping you were not one of those.
Oh, that's awesome.
God, yeah, no, I love that woman. She was absolutely her and grandpa were absolutely amazing. My grandparents, like I lost all of my grandparents when I was very young. I never met my mom's dad. I never met. He died 2 months before my parents got married. My grandma passed away in a car accident when she was 66. And then my great grandma, she was around until she was almost 100. Um, but like my great grandma, her husband passed away like long before I was born as well. And my grandpa Clem died when I was 2, but I remember him. And I remember him being in the hospital. And then my grandma never remarried or even dated as far as I can recall after Clem died. So that was until she passed when I was 20-ish, 1920. And then my grandma and grandpa on my dad's side, they were together my whole life and they passed away, but still when I was really young, still when I was like 20 in my 20s. So uh Harlan's grandparents passed away one just after we split up. Actually, his grandma died in November after we split, and his grandpa died, I think, a year and a half later. But I got to see both his grandparents. I went to his grandma's funeral, but his grandpa's funeral was different. Everybody treated me a lot different, so I didn't go. But I was the only one in the family that seen him before he died. So I was like, I'm like, all right. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, they know where I'm at. Like that at that point I had already started to like understand like and feel like the presence of the people passing that had passed around me. And I mean, and I'd already like lost so much at that point and especially in that year. So um it was kind of just like one of those things. I kind of just was like, well, just separated myself from everybody and was like, I'm obviously on a different journey now, so away I go. But yeah, that was like probably one of the coolest moments in my life because it was so drastically different. Because if I look at like that was the first meal with his grandparents versus the first meal with my husband's grandparents, and it was the complete opposite, and it felt so right. And I mean, yeah, they were
Yeah.
so wonderful.
So this weekend, my classmates and I were in the car. We were driving to the dining hall because we would have like a lunch break and dinner break and breakfast too, but I never went to breakfast because I was like, I'm gonna sleep in. I have a lot to process.
Yeah, no
And
kidding.
man, I gotta tell you that the exercises we did. But so we're sitting in the car and I'm in the back seat with my classmate. And this is just a four-door sedan, five-seater. And there's somebody sitting in the passenger seat, and obviously there's a driver. And you know the beeping noise when you don't put your seatbelt on? So I was like, well, who doesn't have their seatbelt on? And we were all checking, and I'm like, okay, you got yours, I got mine. Everyone has their seatbelt on. It's like totally cool. It's a rental car, so we're trying to figure out like, wait, what does this mean? Like nobody's driven this car before. And so the girl next to me, she buckles the middle seat belt between us, and the beeping stops. And we're like, we didn't have our bags in the middle, so it wasn't detecting any like weight, you know? Because I'll have that sometimes if I have like a dog in the front seat and it's like, put the seatbelt on. Um, and
Yeah,
I
my
was
friend
like,
actually has one of those a dog leash
the
because
leash, yeah,
here you're
it
now you're
keeps,
supposed to have your dogs actually like buckled in and stuff.
yes,
So she actually has one of those dog leashes and she just leaves it buckled in. So I because
yep,
I'm bad for my seatbelt, but the only reason why I'm bad for my seatbelt is because the car accident that I was in that like I didn't have my seatbelt on, like I was safer without it on. And the seat and the accident that I was in with my seatbelt on, it was the first time I had ever worn the seatbelt in that car that I was wearing the seatbelt. So I trust my higher self now to know that I'm wearing it when I need to wear it, that I'm gonna be safe
yeah,
regardless. So yeah, but no,
yeah.
I totally get what you mean though. That's so crazy.
So I was like, whose ancestors with us? Like whose auntie is like wanting acknowledgement right now? Like, and there was three women. It was me, my classmate, and then the person driving, she was a woman. And we had one male, he was in passenger. He's like, oh, it's me. It's got to be me. He's like, my aunties are probably like, oh, you have these three beautiful women and you're not even trying to like get their number. He's like, my aunties are probably like, get married already. And like, where's the where's the little kid? So it was just so funny because I was like, whose ancestor wants to be acknowledged right now? Like they are just beeping away. Like the thing would not stop. And we were just like, is the door open? We're like, what did we do? It
So
was the weirdest
funny.
thing.
Ours it's so weird because like if we leave our signal light on for too long, it starts to like emergency beep. Like
Uh-huh.
and we were having so many problems with our car, and we didn't know this about the signal light. And so we were turning left and we happened to be like it was like a really busy intersection, so it had been on for like ever, and all of a sudden the alarm goes off in here and we're like, what is going
Oh
on?
my God.
He turns off the signal light and he's like, oh thank God. And I was like, man, like that, like it's fine to have a ding to tell you that your signal light is on, but shit, that was like your car's gonna blow up.
Yeah, it was just like nonstop beeping. We're like, okay, like ticking time bomb. Like we get it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was telling Lynn that she would love this program because she told me well, not yesterday, but before I left that she is considering doing like emotional intelligence for her like executive clients because she was an exec. And that's what we have there. That's what I have in my program is EQ lab, emotional intelligence lab every Saturday. So today I had my first coaching session. But we did some radical stuff. So they put a line. So we were in a room and they I guess they didn't have a string. They just used like the electrical cord that was in the room. And they said, everybody stand against this side of the wall. So we all go to this side of the wall. And in front of us, there's just that electrical cord. It's a line. And so they said, we're going to ask a series of questions. And if it's true for you, go ahead and walk to the other side of the room and cross that line. So they're going through these questions. And it's almost like truth or dare, but it was like, if you've ever been criticized for being too much or not enough or too loud or too soft or too this or too that, walk across the room. And then you see like people walking across the room. And like there was one where she was saying, if you're a woman, go ahead. If you have ever been called a whore, a bitch, too much of a caregiver, like all this stuff. And then you see like every woman, of course, walked across the line. And at the end, the to see the men, they were just like so compassionate. Like this one guy who was like, he's like, I just want to apologize for every man in existence. Like it was just so like compassionate. Like we did some hardcore shit and they were like across the room if you've ever been molested, touched inappropriately, uh, involuntarily touched without your consent or like all this stuff. And like it was and you would see people walk across if you've ever been made of for your skin color, your race, your ethnicity, your accent. I walked across for everyone, by the way. I was like, I don't know what this says about me, but I was like, shoot, we're going there. Like every the whole weekend was like that. Like it was, but I mean, we obviously weren't left in our pain. Um, we like went through these exercises and I just had no idea it was going to be like that, like for a grad program, you know? And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, at the end of this, I get to walk away with a degree and feel like I have my needs met at the same time, like my emotional needs.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is amazing. Um,
That is amazing.
it, yeah, I was like, everyone needs to do this. Like, everyone needs to sign up for this program. And I'm like, I'm already convinced I want to do the EDD, the doctorate after, because they said it's pretty much the same, except you have a dissertation, obviously, because it's a doctorate program. And I'm like, sign me up, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was telling Lynn that it felt like the missing piece of because everything that they're sharing, like on a spiritual level, it's what we've already known. And like Yuki shares these principles as well. But I I didn't realize how much I needed the structure and like a blueprint or like a framework to follow until this weekend. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I need because I kind of feel like I've been just like flailing a little
Yeah.
bit, like not like in a not like in a overwhelmed anxious way, but just in a way of like, okay, like cool, like I dig what you're saying and I'm I'm on board with everything that you're teaching. Now tell me where to start. Tell me what to do. Because that's kind of where and it's it's totally left to our however we want to be creative with our businesses, which is great and that's how it should be. Like we should be able to create whatever aligns with us. But I feel like for me, I needed something a little bit more grounded to kind of get my footing, you know?
Yeah.
And I was telling Lynn that, and she was like, oh my God, me and Laura were just talking about that. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Well, because and that's why I mean, in creating my program, and I mean, it's the first of definitely three that I'll have. But that's why I structured it the way that I did, because I don't want to take up everybody's time. And and it's not dedicated to business or anything like that. Like it's dedicated to clearing out the old programming. It's dedicated
right.
to finding the path through the mindset, cleaning up the programming, healing some of the deeper cellular memory and into like the nervous system and stuff like that, and just
Mhm.
pulling you into a place that aligns with your soul. And I know
Right.
that you've gone through like that first part of it. And I feel like in going through that first part of it brought you to this next program. It
Mhm.
aligned you. And that's exactly what it's meant to do. It's not the end all be all. It's definitely just the beginning. Like it was just the start of everything for me. Like, and this would I would be like to me, like what I see, what I created was like the pre-work to me going into Jen's
Mhm.
program and getting my mastery in energy, which
Mm,
now as I'm like working with Lynn and seeing how like my energy elevates and what actually like the process that has kind of worked within her to kind of pull her into her gifts and learning how to read her energy and so on, you know, like that's helping me create the basis for like the next series of programs and
mm,
you know, and the biggest one of like remembering and embodying. But I mean,
yeah.
everybody has a different aligned purpose, and I'm not like once you find what your purpose is and where your alignment is, then you know that's you know you go off and you find the
Go
program
for it.
and you know you just keep rolling forward. Like this is literally like I creating like that baseline for me moving forward. I see a lot of like group healing sessions, the
Mhm.
retreats that I want to host. um this walk across Canada is going to be a huge thing, you know, because I'm going to do it in person. You know, people who show up and wanting to, you know, like support and stuff like that. If they are living in grief, you know, and willing to step and want to experience life without the grief, where they can actually move forward and feel like they can breathe again. You know, it's not about forgetting, it's not about like you know like not loving who you've lost. It's about literally
Right.
being able to pick up the pieces and actually find love within your life. And I think that's why mediumship has become some of what I do too, because and
Mm,
because if to allow somebody to heal, sometimes they need to know that it's okay, and it can't just be from like the person healing them, and a message from their ancestors, a message from the people
right,
surrounding them, telling them, yes, please, we want you to be happy. We haven't left you. We don't want to see you like this, right? Like those
right.
are the messages that tend to come through a whole lot. And like the last one that kind of came through for me on TikTok was so random. And I'm like, why am I on fire? And she's like, because my dad was always hot. And I'm like, well, okay,
Oh,
well, he's telling you he's really here and I'm not making this shit up. So you know, and she's just like, well, you just blew my mind. And I was like, well, I'm happy to do so. You know, like I'm like, so yeah, so it's really interesting, like seeing like how like people are moving forward, being within my energy, and like, and it feels really great. And then there was like a moment over this last few, like even days, where I was like, dude, like I am sick of standing still. Like I feel like I'm out there, I'm doing my thing, I'm anchored in, I understand, like I'm doing what I know I'm called to do. I'm like, let's go. So the day before the full moon, I found this thing. I should have brought the book in here while I was
which was beautiful, by the way. I saw
oh,
it when I was
well,
on takeoff, and I was like, oh, like it was the blood orange moon, or
yep, the blood moon, yeah.
so
So
beautiful.
beautiful. And with us, we actually ended up with like 5 days of blood red moon because of the
Oh,
fires around us. So the
oh,
reflection of the fire off the moon, we actually ended up with like 5 days of blood colored moon, which was really,
wow.
really interesting. Um, And so going into this, like, and I knew it was like relaxing energy Saturday, didn't freaking get out of bed. I was like, man, I feel like the laziest person right now. I didn't do anything. I didn't even really like watch a whole lot of reels or anything. I literally meditated like 3 quarters of Saturday. And
That's
then
awesome.
Sunday we did a little bit more, but still not a lot. And and then Sunday night, going into Sunday night, I like I said, I wrote it down. I don't really have it with me, but it was something that came across my feed, and I don't ignore anything that comes across my feed that catches my attention. So but it was like basically saying that um I am ready. Like I universe, I am ready. I am in alignment. You know, like I want to step into you know the new thing, except for like it's beautiful. I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you because I've been saying it like for the last 2 days because so and then I wake up in the morning and I because there's one for night and there's one for morning. And I say the one in the morning, but kind of just like off from memory, better than what I just did because like that was terrible. It was not even close, but it was something along those lines, anyways. And and I was like, and I was in my human, like, and I felt weird about being in my human because I'm like, it didn't like the ego wasn't loud, it wasn't like a loud human, but there was just this whole thing that you know what, like I'm bored, I guess. And I feel stuck. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to get a job. I'm doing things for people. I've got the program. I'm like 1,000 people in my program would basically, change my entire life. And that's not a lot of people,
Yeah.
right? It's not a lot of
Yeah.
people. And so I'm like frustrated and I'm like, but then we were listening to Bashar and he was like, he's like, let go of what abundance looks like to you. And I was like, I have been letting go of because I know like I've got an abundance of love, an abundance of green, abundance, like abundance in ways that aren't money. And I respect that about the universe, that I have everything that I need and I have an abundance of everything that I need. However, for me to do more and
You need,
and I need an abundance of money. I
yes.
need abundance of money. And I'm like, and I'm open to that coming in other ways than I expect it to. Like, and I really just kind of sat with that. And I'm like, I know that abundance looks many ways and that like I can get a vehicle without money and I can get everything that I need without money. And I know this. I'm like, but it's still not flowing. And I'm like, and I was just really tired. I was really done. And I kind of threw it out there and I was like, I know we get to choose to come into these bodies every day. And I'm like, and if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do or I'm missing something, I'm like, I'm good with not doing this anymore. I'm like, like I feel like I've, set up something that's going to help more people. Like it's not going to disappear when I disappear. Like everything that I've set up, the people that I've touched, the people that I've taught to even do what I do, however few can continue it on. And plus Colette, the first person, or I don't know if she's the very first person, but like the one that taught Chris Duncan. And then, like they're still out there.
Colette.
Yeah, Colette.
Colette.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I still need to watch the replay. I don't know if you have access to it, but I never got to see it. I don't
I
know.
sent you an email of
I
it, or
I thought you did. And then I
yeah,
didn't. Okay, I'll have to search through.
yeah,
I
I sent
anyway.
yeah, it's
Okay.
from my Laura Lynn 81, and I just forwarded it. I forwarded it, but I can forward it again.
Forwarded it.
Or
Yeah,
forwarded it.
that would be great. And no rush.
Yeah.
I just remember I was like, I never got to see it. Can
I
I
will
give you
definitely watch it a
would
second time. I will look and see which email you gave me, and it's the one in WhatsApp. So I believe that's
hmm
where you sent it to me. So I that's the one that I sent it to. So it could have ended up in your junk email. Um,
probably.
but yeah, I'll if let me know if you can't find it after this and I'll send it again. I've actually been thinking that I want to watch it a second time, but you can't fast forward it. That's my only sad thing for it is like you have
Oh,
to watch the whole 2 hours of it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll let it play. And because it's only like the last 25 minutes of it is like that, her actually going into a recode for business. And I mean, and it's not
gotcha.
bad conversation or anything like that, but yeah, it's just
You
I'm
just
like,
want to
I
get the essential points that you need.
want to get it done. That's why I'll never
Mate,
stop anybody from being able to fast forward my stuff because like take what you need from it. Like don't I'm not gonna force you to watch some of the, stuff that doesn't interest you or entertain you, like fast forward the shit out of it, whatever you gotta do. I just want you present, get what you need out of it. Like that's really what I'm here for. Get what you need out of it. And
can I
so
offer something that you've shared before?
yes.
Okay. So this feeling of like stuck that you're going through or whatever the word you used, would it be beneficial for you to maybe write down or say exactly the scenario that you prefer
Oh,
and then
it's
just
oh,
let it go?
it's done. It honestly, it is done. Like I have like that is one thing like I like that I preach that I definitely, yes, I hadn't I actually was coming to the exciting stuff that just happened after me like putting this out to the universe. So because I just it didn't last for very long. It didn't have time to last for very long because I had my call with Lynn and stuff like that. But I even said to her, I'm like, I'm very glad to be in your energy today because my energy seems to be crappy and I don't get it. But the blood moon was a very strong blood moon. And what I didn't realize was I was stepping through another layer. And so I'm sitting out here with Lynn And I was just finished telling her that I'm like, just telling her exactly what I just told you about, like, I'm like, I'm good. Like, I feel like I've accomplished enough in life. Like, I don't even have that urge that I used to like be like, oh, I'd be so sad if I died before seeing the world. I'm like, I don't even have that anymore. Like, I want to see the world, like I want to travel and see the castles and stuff like that, but it doesn't feel so as dire as it did when I was younger.
You
It
don't
just
have the attachment
Yeah,
to
there's
it.
no attachment to it. Exactly. I would love for it to just to come about in different ways, but even traveling the world, I see it as raising awareness and healing and stuff like that. It's not just to be like,
Hmm.
and to experience the other cultures. Brandon comes walking out here. He's like, we got the support from Canadian Blood Services. And I,
Cool.
in the of being the social media um what do you call me? Influencer. I'm like, I'm a social media influencer. Woo, woo. So anyway, I don't know why that made me feel so good and
That
so happy. But
yeah, that's awesome.
he's like, they're gonna be in touch with you because they want to put you in touch with CBS, the news. They're at their contact at CBS for the news. And yeah, so and then I've already been talking to the Y, so now I have a proposal written up to talk to the Y. Like everything in a
Amazing.
second. Like it was such an interesting experience because I was so again feeling done, stuck, all of the things. I'm like, I'm showing up and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
then fast forward to later yesterday afternoon, an Alberta number calls me and I'm like, I got a tingle telling me it was okay, but I was like, if it's okay, like they'll text me or whatever because I have a couple people I'm still avoiding in Alberta. There's still some energy that I'm not in, but when they do call me, I get a flex, like an anxious flex. So now I know the difference between the phone calls I
Contraction.
can answer and I can answer. So now I've got the comparison. And but instantly he texted me, and he did leave a voicemail too. And I was like, okay. I'm like, he's a real person and he's not just trying to get in the door from the people that
Yeah.
I'm avoiding in Alberta. Perfect. And so I he ended up messages me and I give him a link to book services. And I was like, oh my God, like this is like a random like word of mouth person. I'm like, that's exactly what I've been like talking about and saying that. Like, this is so
You're an
cool.
influencer.
I'm an influencer and I've got people from word of mouth. So we end up talking because he booked in for this time. He booked in for 9 o'clock. And I'm like, my appointments aren't supposed to be open at 9 o'clock. And so now I have to figure out why my calendar says I'm open at 9 o'clock. Because when I look at it, shows me I'm booked off from 9 to 10. But he was able to book in today. I was like, I don't understand, but I'll figure it out. And so we end up on the phone and he ends up telling me who put him in contact with me. And I was like, oh my God, I absolutely love her. And he's like, me too. That's why I need you. Because he's going through like this whole emotional attachment thing. And she's going through a lot. And she actually just moved from here to Vancouver. And I didn't even know that actually because I had seen her at the gym and I was like, oh, I didn't even know she left the city. I'm like, what the hell? Or to the city. I'm like, what? I don't. I'm like, okay, I'll have to. I'm like, but obviously she wasn't ready to tell me, and I'm like, oh God, like, oh my God, okay, and like this is interesting. This because I had reached out to her and told her that if she needed my help to let me know, and then all of a sudden the guy she's been seeing reaches out to me and is like, I need to see you. I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is so weird. I'm like,
Small world.
the universe works in mysterious ways. That's all I got. And but yeah, so he booked it for today. So we end up calling to have the conversation because he's like, oh my God, I booked you, but I'm not even available at the time I booked you. He's like, I'm so excited to talk to you that I booked you. He was crying when we got off the phone. And he's like, I don't know what just happened. He's like this wave of emotion. I'm like, that's my energy. I'm like, our higher selves are already on the work, like we're already working. I'm like,
Oh, this was the guy you talked about in your voice message.
the voice note, yeah. And yeah,
Mhm.
so he's crying when we get off the phone, and I'm like, I think he was crying. I'm like, I made somebody cry. I'm like, but in a good way, not even like not in a bad way. I made him cry in a good way. I'm like, that's really, really interesting that my energy was like so quick to shift. But I'm just like, it's so interesting because I'm like, everybody always says it just happens overnight. And I'm like, when does overnight happen? And
Yeah.
I wake up and it was like I said, I was just so kind of felt just heavy. And I'm like, I'm tired of standing still. Now I'm going to walk 270 days. I'm not standing still anymore. And raising awareness for such good causes. Like, I'm like, because I'm like, what am I actually like doing? You know, like I have all of these skills and all of these gifts, and I'm like, I was pushed away kind of from the reading part of it, but I integrated the reading into like the intuitive healing side of things because I don't just trust what somebody tells me. I connect, I read the energy, and then and then we end up going deeper and finding stuff that they didn't even recognize was there. So, um, but it's been stages and steps and a process because everything's a bloody process. And it's
Yeah, that's
when
true. Yep.
when you're trying to do your own boat, it can take so much longer. It's
Yeah.
like, but it's so hard to relax and let go of the human stuff. But the writing definitely helped. The sending it off, the saying the words and sending it off into the
Mhm.
universe definitely made a huge difference with all of this. But it was just so interesting, like coming through that blood moon, like it was just snap. All of a sudden it's like, okay, now we got to talk about this. We got to get people, we got to get things moving, and I got to start reaching out to all the contacts and all this stuff. So
And it happened, and it did happen overnight, sounds
it, it
like.
it did, we had the idea, we donated the plasma, we reached out to Canadian Blood Services. It took 7 days for them to get back to us. And then in like that, we were both, he's like, oh, I want to talk to them. I was like, it's a holiday. And it was the holiday Monday. And I was like, just, give them the extra day or whatever. And then, yeah, it took I think it's been a week. And yeah, so, and they're like, yeah, we got you. We're going to help raise money for your walk and put you in contact with
Oh,
all the people to help like elevate. So the fact that we have their support means that we'll be, yeah, like just people,
fully
it's just going to
funded,
be
it
like a
sounds like.
flow. It's going to be a flow. Yeah. So
That's amazing.
yeah, so it's yeah, so yeah, but like you say, like the thing that I preach the most, the writing, and that's like in my journal and stuff. And I had journaled the day before. I didn't wake up and journal that morning. I think I might have wrote down my dream. Actually, no, I didn't even write down my dream because it was interesting. It was actually about our walk, and our kitten would like disappear, and every time I call her, she'd come back, and she'd disappear, and I call her, she'd come back, and then there was like this pile of bugs around us, and I was like, oh, I bet you those are going to be, and I can't wait to actually experience it because it reminds me of like this one dream premonition I had last summer that happened this summer. And it was about wolves, but the wolves were people. I feel like we're going to get swarmed with people and it's going to feel like bugs.
That's amazing. It'd be cool
Yeah.
if you got Kitten a little leash and
Oh,
harness.
she's got it.
Oh,
She's
does
got that.
she? Does she
Yeah.
like it? Does she use it? I mean, like, does she care to wear it? Oh,
Nope.
okay. Oh,
She prefers to walk without it. She's very good. She usually walks with us. Being on the highways or on the roads, like we're only going to do it when it's quiet out because for one, she doesn't like cars, and for two, it's unsafe. And
yeah.
but so on the quieter spots, we'll put her on her leash and allow her to walk with us. I won't let her walk without it, even though I trust her. If we're in the bush type area and if we're doing like a path walk at some point, I would let her walk off the leash because she does.
Yeah.
She just follows us. She's the only time she stops is if she's not done walking and we are, and then she tries to like keep us wherever we're at if she's happy and she doesn't want to leave yet. Um,
Hmm.
so she is a little bit like pig-headed, so we do have to like be mindful of that. But yeah, she'll have her harness on all the time. I may take on and off the leash. Uh, but I'm gonna get one of those like those dog things that you spin into the ground for when we're at the
Oh, yeah.
campground, so I can
Yep.
put her on her harness and let her and screw her into the ground and give her space whenever we're stopped for the night and stuff like that. Because I can't she doesn't come home at any particular time, and being in different areas, I don't want her just to wander off and not
Disappear.
come back.
Yeah.
So
The girl
yeah.
sitting next to me on the plane had a cat in her under the seat. I was like, and the person behind me also had their hat. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I was
and
like,
then when
yeah.
we travel, I mean, I definitely want to. She'll be on the plane with us. We'll probably end up getting her own seat and that kind of stuff. So
I can't wait. It's amazing. It's amazing how quickly things have been falling in place for you. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see you guys get this walk going. I have to hop
yeah.
off, but yeah,
Well, thanks for coming.
I'm glad we got had a chance to catch up. I miss everybody. So
I know our voice notes and stuff. I'm just gonna hit stop. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good to have a wonderful day.